Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me and stay with me, 'cause I can't do this on my own. I've been down and I've been out. I've seen things no one should see, but I knew one day, come what may, that I'll sing a song of hope. Said I've been down and I've been out, and I've seen things no one should see, but I knew one day, come what may, that I'll sing a song of hope. Walk with me, talk with me, Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me, stay with me. I can't do this on my own.
Your times of joy have been too brief. The threat of death posed by weapons made you leave your own possessions. But do not sink, you need to float. In times of need, I'll be your boat. Let's stand together, you and me, address the needs of refugees.
Walk with me, talk with me, Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me, pray with me. I can't do this on my own. Walk with me, talk with me, Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me and pray with me. I can't do this on my own. I can't do this on my own. I need you. No. Stand, pray. No. I can't do this on my own. I can't do this on my own. Walk with me, talk with me, Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me and pray with me. I can't do this on my own. Walk with me, talk with me, Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me and stay with me, 'cause I can't do this on my own. I've been down and I've been out. I've seen things no one should see, but I knew one day, come what may, that I'll sing a song of hope. Said I've been down and I've been out, and I've seen things no one should see, but I knew one day, come what may, that
times of joy have been too brief. The threat of death posed by weapons made you leave your own possessions. But do not sink, you need to float. In times of need, I'll be your boat. Let's stand together, you and me, address the needs of refugees.
Walk with me, talk with me. Don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me, pray with me. I can't do this on my own. Walk with me, talk with me. We are no fools on the hill. My people are no fools on the hill. You must let my people go, so we can rule from Cape to Cairo. You must free my people's hands, so we can rule our purpose land. I wanna know who owns the land. Who wanna know who owns the land? Okay, now listen carefully. Chinese are ruling the Chinese land. Japan is ruled by Japanese. England is governed by Englishmen. America is governed by Americans. So, Africa must be ruled by Africans. I wanna know who owns the land. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. We must rule our purpose land. I say, we wanna know who owns the land. I wanna know who owns the land. Aslan, hey, purpose land. Purpose land. Purpose land. It must be free. Angola wants to know who owns the land. Mozambique want to know who owns the land. Namibia wants to know who owns the land. I say, Soweto wants to know who owns the land. Zimbabwe wants to know who owns the land. African freedom fighters want to know who owns the land. Purpose land. Now listen to the history. With the years since creation, with the years since creation, what else do I know? Since the time of sun and sand, since the time of moon and stars, since the time of air and sea, Baba, yeah, oh, finally, we just see a record. Oh, finally, my sister, you have a tongue,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this very, very special broadcast today, Wednesday, the 26th of February, in the year of our Lord, 2020. It is once more another privilege to come to you with a very, very important, exclusive piece of information about a policy that this interim government has taken in the recent times. And I want to believe that by the end of the day, the end of this broadcast, every one of you out there, every Ambazonian out there, will have no doubt about the soundness of the decision of this interim government to ask Francophones to leave our territory, to leave Ambazonia. We are not sending them out for good. We are asking them to leave until when the times are better, for them to come back and live with us if they want to. This is not a punitive measure that we are taking against them, but we must take it if we should save our people and save our land and regain our independence. This broadcast is very, very critical, and I would love as many as possible to tune in tonight. If you are watching on television, ABC, Amber TV, on Ground Zero, please, at this moment, I ask you, invite somebody to watch with you. I am about to bring you information that you may never get it anywhere else. You may not get it anywhere else. So please, if you are on Ground Zero, I ask you, invite somebody else to your television set. Invite somebody else to your television set. And of course, those of you watching by way of the social media, please, you go ahead, hit your share button as usual. Let us gather at least 700 people so I can start with the presentation. This is what I'm going to do today. I will come with some updates and some announcements of events that we have in the pipeline. And after those events, I will bring you the presentation proper. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, that this is a critical presentation that I bring to you today. It is not just another broadcast. It is a very, very special broadcast. And so please hit your share button as you have joined. To every group that you can imagine, every social media group that you can imagine, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, every group, Instagram, Twitter, hit your share button to those platforms and let us quickly quickly build the numbers here on Facebook. I like the pace at which I see the numbers rising on Facebook. Please hit your share button as you join. This is a critical, and I mean a critical broadcast that I bring to you today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I take you into that broadcast, and while you hit your share button, I got a few updates to bring to you. First, we have three important events that are coming up very, very soon, starting this weekend. Saturday, is it Saturday? Precisely. We are having a National Day of Mourning. That is the 28th. The 28th. Today is Wednesday, the 26th. Thursday, 27th. Friday, not Saturday. Friday, the 28th. Fellow Ambazonians, Friday, the 28th. Both on ground zero and in the diaspora. If you can, please, we expect all of you, the interim government expect all of you to shut down every activity in your life. Let us lock down and observe a solemn day in recognition, or with sympathies for our brothers, our sisters, our parents, our children who were massacred in the Donga Mantung, February the 14th. We have chosen this Friday the 28th, in a matter of 2 days or a day, to recognize these victims of French Cameroon massacre, genocide in our territory. So please, ground zero, take note. No going out, no going anywhere on Friday. Let us do this in remembrance again of our brothers and sisters, our families who were massacred in Donga Mantung. And we can also do so in remembrance of all those who have been killed, all over Ambazonia in the course of this fight for the independence of Ambazonia. So please, let's mark the date, mark the calendar. Friday the 28th is our National Day of Mourning. And then, of course, we also have coming up in London, England, the huge match, the biggest of rallies that will take place in London coming up on March the 9th. I think that rally is taking place in front of the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. Ambazonians all over England shall be pouring out in London. Ladies and gentlemen, if you live in London or anywhere in the United Kingdom, you should be in London, on the 9th of March. A little over a week to go. So please, if you live in England, mark your calendar for March the 9th. All these rallies are meant to sensitize the international community about what is going on in our country, in our territory, Ambazonia. You cannot say you support Ambazonia. You cannot say you stand for the independence of Ambazonia. You cannot say you stand for the freedom of Ambazonia. And when important events like this are put up, and you are not sure. Again, please, every Ambazonian anywhere in the United Kingdom, London is where you should be on March the 9th. So please, that rally is taking place in the backdrop of the Commonwealth General Assembly taking place in London on March the 9th. So please, your placards, your mufflers, your flags, and everything that promotes Ambazonia. Please get it ready. Get it ready for March the 9th in England, in London. All right. Meanwhile, in the USA, the USA is gearing up. Europe is also gearing up. This one is not just for the USA, it is for all Amazonians across the globe, whether you are in Latin America, in Canada, in the USA, in Europe, wherever you are, and the rest of Africa, please, we have chosen March the 13th, to march to every diplomatic mission, to express our disgust at the massacres that the world leaders are allowing to take place or go unchallenged in our territory. We've got to prepare some of those gory images. Take it to your diplomatic missions. Take it to your state representatives, your parliamentarians, your senators. March to their offices, carrying those signs, those placards, to let them know the kind of massacre, the degree of massacre, those mass graves images, those mass murders like in Bali, like in Ngaraba, like in Tumbo, like in Pinyin, all those destroyed, burnt images of our people. Please get them, get ready, get them on your placards, and take them, prepare them for these rallies. Right here in the USA, in Washington, D.C., we shall commemorate the event with a special press conference at the National Press Club, the National Press Club Center in Washington, D.C. That will take place on Thursday, March the 12th. Thursday, March the 12th. The big rally, the A Million March rally, takes place on March the 13th. I am appealing to every Amazonian in the USA. Let's do it once more. Let's gather in D.C. Let the U.S. government hear us. Let the House of Representatives hear us. And of course, the Senate too. They must hear us. We hope that they will hear us. And after they have heard us, they will do something about what is going on. The carnage, the massacre that is going on in our territory. We cannot allow La République du Cameroon, the madman called Paul Biya in La République du Cameroon, to continue to slaughter and massacre our people, out their home, destroy their homes, kill animals with impunity. We all have to do something, ladies and gentlemen, to stop what we are seeing on ground zero. And one more important thing, very, very, very important, is the need for all of us at this moment to rise up with our financial contributions. The time is gone. The time is past when people said, oh, I need to know what my money does. Call your local government leadership, your county leadership. That is where your money should be going to. Fellow Amazonians, this is very, very, very important. What has taken this revolution to where it is today is the presence or the project of this county by county, local government by local government. You can no longer say, I am giving my money for somebody to eat it, if at all anybody is eating your money. But we have to rise up and take the challenge at this moment and put in the hands of our restoration forces the equipment they need, whatever that they need, whatever it will take them to confront and to face the terrorist army of French Cameroon. We've got to equip them. We've got to empower them. You can do that by identifying your local government area and supporting them financially. Every local government area and every county, of course, they have a fundraising going on now. They have a fundraiser going on now. Look for your local government and for your county. Please join. There are some people out there who think that they must be at the leadership before they can do anything. Please, you want to be at the leadership? You want to climb to the leadership? Identify your local government, enroll in your local government so that they can hear from you and see your contributions towards this war. It's a war, my brothers and my sisters. It's a war. Eritreans took care of their war by contributing generously and tirelessly until they won the war. This is the moment. Ambazonians must show that, yes, they deserve independence and they won independence by funding this war. And let's not forget, we did not call for war. We never provoked war. We merely asked for reforms. They denied us reforms. We asked for a federation. They denied us a federation. And they waged a war on us and our people. And they have slaughtered them. Over 15,000 Ambazonians have been killed in this war. And close to 400 settlements, communities burnt down by forces, terrorist forces loyal to the French Cameroon government. And that is why, if you have lost any family member in this struggle, if you have lost any home, and I believe almost every Ambazonian out here in the diaspora has lost a family member or has lost a home, this is the moment, ladies and gentlemen. We have come too far. The moment we have come too far to even contemplate of turning back. And so all that we have to do, only one choice, is to fund the revolution, fund the war. All right. One more thing before I bring you the presentation proper. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very, very critical presentation that I bring to you today. It is not just another presentation. It is not just another broadcast. It is a very, very critical one. The question has been asked, why is the interim government asking Francophones to leave Amazonia? If you need an answer, that is the reason I am here today. I want you to stay put. Let me bring one last update. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to bring to your attention the fact that Danjuma, I guess, the man in Ngariba, who gave information, who helped the United Nations agency that visited that area to investigate the killings there. He was on Monday. Malam Danjuma was on Monday abducted. He was visited in the mosque by men of the underworld from French Cameroon, who were told that they were dressed looking like Ambazonian restoration forces. They walked into the mosque where Malam Danjuma was, invited him outside, and before he knew, they pulled out knives. And took him away. As I come to you today, it is Wednesday. He was picked up on Monday. Nobody has since heard from him. No one knows whether he is alive. Now, I send this message so that La République du Cameroon officials know, we have no doubt that Malam Danjuma was picked up from the mosque by French Cameroon soldiers. This guy is looking like Amba Restoration Forces. We remind La République du Cameroon, we hope that Malam Danjuma is not going to be another statistics. We hope so. We are looking out for him. All right. We are looking out for him and others who live in fear. I'm going to come back to this subject at the end of the day because I have somebody on ground zero who has some more detailed information on this subject. After the presentation that I bring to you at this moment, I will bring this comrade to come back and with the details of this information. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to take a short minute break outside to run a commercial from our sponsors. It is very, very important that I do that. After this commercial, I will be back. With this special presentation. After the commercial, I will be back with this special presentation. Again, why should Francophones leave Ambazonia? That is the message I bring to you today. Please do not touch your remote. I will be right back.
Start a new career as a Linux system administrator with an average salary of $80,000 to $120,000 a year. Dynamic Tech Academy has transformed many lives for the better through our 6-month Linux program. We are so excited to announce that we are adding DevOps course and Red Hat certification at no charge, which will make students more competitive. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet vast majority of alumni land jobs in 3 to 6 months after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student employment, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will provide resume building, interview preparation, and job placement assistance. With the Linux course, you get more than 300 hours of in-depth training, and you get to learn from experienced instructors. By the end of the program, our students can be Red Hat certified if they choose. Our alumni work in companies, both government and private companies in the USA, Canada, and even Europe. Want to learn more about the program? You can contact us at info@dynamicdmv.com, or you can call us at 240-604-9505, or you can call us at 240-423-7865. And you can also visit us at www.dynamictechdmv.com. If you are interested in online classes, please register on our website. That's once again www.dynamictechdmv.com. Are you tired of going from dealership to dealership looking for that used car that perfectly fits both your lifestyle and your budget? Are you bored with the same old tactics, the same old styles, and the same old disappointments when you don't find exactly what you want? Are you frustrated because of bad credit or tired of being rejected of in-house financing? Are you tired of going from garage to garage for a car? How about that filthy old car that you used to drive? Are you done? Welcome to the new experience. Barrico Auto Sales has sold and financed cars to over 50,000 people across the country. Our exclusive in-house financing model allows us to provide flexible options for all. Enjoy low rates, free pickup, and award-winning customer service. Reserve today. Barrico Auto helps make car renting easy and seamless for all of our customers. Our financing options allow you to shop our vehicle inventory for the exact used car, truck, or van that best fits your needs. Car selection and customer satisfaction are of great importance to us. We provide the best mechanical repairs, and our services take just minutes. Detail your car with us and get out of that filthy old smell and into something sweet. We will even do your oil change at the lowest rate. And please do not forget that with Barco Auto Sale, you own and drive your car before you even have to pay us. So come on down and visit us and drive away with your new car.
Mbariku Autos. Own and drive before you pay. 240-486-4664. www.mbariku.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome back. I now will take you into this very, very critical presentation. Again, this is a very, very critical presentation. It is not just another broadcast. It is a very, very, very important, critical broadcast. And I would love you, please go ahead, invite somebody, invite other Ambazonians, anywhere that they may be, let them get this information. Why? Why do we want Francophones to leave Ambazonia? Why do we want Francophones to leave Ambazonia? That is the subject of the message that I bring to you today. And again, we want as many as possible to listen to this message. Now, this is what I am going to do. This is what I am going to do at the end of this broadcast. I will open the phone lines. I will open the phone lines briefly for a few questions as usual, and then I will end the broadcast. And what I will also do is we are putting this into a documentary that we want every Ambazonian at the end of the day to share, to pass out to any community, any quarters where you can, for people to understand where our decision is coming from. It is very, very important. Good evening once more. The debate has been tense. The debate as to whether or not Francophones resident in Ambazonia should leave or not. It dominates social media discussion platforms today, most especially as the interim government of Ambazonia recently made it an official policy for the Francophones in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia to leave, and to live in peace, not in pieces. Those who have argued against it fear severe repercussions as hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Ambazonians live in French Cameroon. But the majority who support the policy say it is the right thing to do. They want the pain and the agony of the war not only to be felt by Ambazonians, they want Francophones to feel it too. The argument of the interim government in making it official policy goes beyond these rather rhetorical and sentimental arguments. It is a decision based on assembled facts and data. And it is just a tip of the iceberg I bring to you today. What you are about to hear, what you are about to listen, is an objective point-by-point argument that should convince every Ambazonian, home and abroad, that there are more advantages for the Francophones to leave our territory than the disadvantages. Before delving into the subject, however, it is important I provide you with some background on how La République du Cameroon citizens first began to flood several Ambazonia towns and growing their populations, particularly those towns that share common boundaries with other towns in their own country, that is, in French Cameroon. In the late 1940s, several Africans started organizing themselves into pressure groups, or call them unions. It is but safe to say that the unions eventually became political parties which clamored for freedom and expressed their desire to break free from colonial rule. In East Cameroon, or former East Cameroon as it was then called, a colony under French rule, a few gentlemen of the Bassas and Bamilekis extraction met at a bar in the Bassa quarters in Douala and came up with the idea of forming a pressure group, which eventually becomes a political party called the UPC, Cameroon's People's Union. That was on April 10, 1948. Prominent among the gentlemen were the celebrated Iyobe, a Bassa man, and Ernest Uwanji, a Bamileki man, both of blessed memories. From the onset, Franks did not take the idea of the UPC seriously, not until 1953, when the party's membership began to swell rapidly and its leaders, radical chauvinist nationalists, let Franks know that they would not settle for anything. They would not settle for anything short of absolute political and economic independence for their country, La République du Cameroun. France, on its part, was not going to allow such radical ideology to fester since its economic survival to date depended on looted wealth from its colonies. France's response was merciless brutality. Sound familiar, right? French soldiers rampaged through Bamileki land and Bassa land, killing and razing down villages indiscriminately. Doesn't this also sound familiar? The French launched a manhunt for UPC leadership, particularly Iyobe and Ernest Uwanji. This operation gave birth to the bloody Maquisard guerrilla movement as we know it. On the other side of the Mongol, which was then West Cameroon, called it Southern Cameroons or Ambazonia, which was under British colonial rule, two prominent political figures had emerged in the persons of John Ngu Foncha in Bamenda and the Venerable Dr. E.M. Erindele in Boya. As the slaughter of Bassas and Bamilekis intensified in the east, Iyobe and Ernest Uwanji, now in hiding, sent their agents to West Cameroon, to the Southern Cameroons, ladies and gentlemen, to arrange for a meeting with Foncha and Indele, the two political leaders, and it was agreed that they shall meet in Kumba, even though for security reasons Indele did not travel to Kumba for the meeting. He was in agreement that West Cameroon or Southern Cameroons offer refuge to Bassas and Bamilekis who were escaping from the barbarism inflicted on their villages. And this also sounds familiar, right? The barbarism by French troops was aided by some natives of the Ewondo clan and Muslims from the north, whose son, Amadou Ahidjo, was colluding with the French. From that Kumba agreement, the Southern Cameroons provided refuge, ladies and gentlemen, to thousands of Bassas and Bamilekis. And because of the ease of getting to safe localities in Ambazonia, an overwhelming majority of the Bassas took up settlements in Tiko, they took up settlements in Motengene, in Victoria and Moyoka. The Bamilekis moved into Kumba, particularly Greater Fiango, specifically Chang quarters, and Tancha quarters, Tombel, Santa, Bamenda, particularly in Bamenda was Meta quarters, and Bali, specifically the quarters referred to as Bawak, which accommodated refugees from Bangangte, but it has since been provocatively classified a Bamileki Fondom inside Bali Nyonga. On September 13, 1958, Inyome was assassinated when his hideout was leaked to French soldiers, who stormed his natal village of Bominyebel, Inyong Ekele Division, Marquis Bassa. His bullet-ridden corpse was paraded in the open as a deterrent, a warning to other rebels who would dare raise their heads in their voices. His fellow comrade in arms, Ernest Wanji, who had been on the run, hiding among refugees in Chang quarters, Kumba, turned himself in later in 1970 when the French government promised him that he will not be executed. Unfortunately, East Cameroon's dictator, Amadou Ahidjo, was already clearing out political opponents with the intent to consolidate power. So, he did not heed to French instructions not to kill Ernest Wanji. And so, on January 15, 1971, the day of his assassination, Ernest Wanji refused to be blindfolded and was publicly executed by firing squad in Bafoussam, chief town of Bamileki land. After East Cameroon or French Cameroon annexation of the southern Cameroons in May 1972, Ahidjo asserted his fascistic control over what was referred to as United Republic of Cameroon, and then brought in co-opted Bamilekis and Bassas into his cabinet. Nevertheless, that gesture was not enough to erase frightening memories of the barbarism that he had experienced and escaped from. So the refugees who had moved into the southern Cameroons opted to stay in Ambazonia and enjoy the warm hospitality that the indigenous, our people, offered them. They became fully integrated in their Ambazonia host communities and raised their families in absolute tranquility and prosperity. The Bassas embarked on educating their children in the superior Anglo-Saxon school system in West Cameroon, and later dominated lucrative positions within CDC, the Cameroon Development Corporation. The Francophones, specifically the Bamilekis, went on to acquire big swaths of forest land in Greater Kumba and Tombel, where they set up huge cocoa and coffee farms. Those of them who went to live in Bamenda and beyond set up shops and other types of petty businesses. Again, that was up in the northern zone. The prosperity of the first wave of Francophone refugees who arrived in the late 1950s and early 1960s in Ambazonia became an incentive for more immigrants from Bamileki land and Bassa land to move to Ambazonia. So that by the end of the 1980s, children of refugees who arrived in the late 1950s and early 60s started having their own families. And in the 2000s, grandchildren of the refugees were being born. This is exactly how our big towns in Fako, in Meme, in Kupe Baniguba, and Mezam became flooded with Francophones. It is important to note that between 1966 and 1970, West Cameroon was host not only to refugees from Bamileke land and Bassar land, but also to Igbos who were fleeing the Nigerian Civil War that broke out in 1966. Let's now get to the question. Should La République du Cameroon citizens leave Ambazonia and go back? The interim government says absolutely yes. And these are some of our reasonings. Number one, a prominent Francophone is already on record, ladies and gentlemen, as saying just that. If a prominent Bamileke son says so, we too should because, first and foremost, we are owners of our land. If in October 2016 it was okay for Lele Lafrique, La République du Cameroon colonial governor in Bamenda, to instruct his Bamileke brethren to leave Bamenda for safety reasons, then it is absolutely okay for Dr. Sako and the interim government to tell the remaining La République du Cameroon citizens to leave Ambazonia because their safety can no longer be guaranteed, not at all. According to news reports and accounts from our own informants, 3 days after Ambazonians came out en masse, came out in huge numbers to celebrate Independence Day on October 1, 2017, Lele Lafrique advised his Bamileke brethren to leave Bamenda. He was acting on an internal confidential briefing on an impending retributive killing and destruction that was to be unleashed in Ambazonia on Ambazonians. So he did not want his fellow Bamilekis to being incidental victims. As terrorist La République du Cameroon soldiers continue carrying out genocide and other acts of barbarism in Ambazonia, a breaking point has come whereby Ambazonians can no longer take it, and out of frustration and provoke anger, may target La République du Cameroon citizens in their communities for revenge. Therefore, it is for their own good that Dr. Sako and the interim government have advised them to leave before it is too late. Number two, Francophones in Ambazonia are citizens of La République du Cameroon, meaning that it is okay for them to live anywhere in their own country. But that has not been the case. During the last 4 months of 2019, Francophones, Bamilekis in particular, were savagely brutalized. Their shops looted and burned, and they were forced out of their homes, which were then torched. On some occasions, the attacks were carried out in the night. This happened in towns considered to be Paul Biya's native backyard: Bafia, Ebowa, Sang Melima, and in Bamayo, all in French Cameroon. Absolutely no one, and I mean no one, lifted a finger at the perpetrators, and in some cases, law enforcement officials stood by and did nothing. Several of the thugs involved in one of the operations could be heard shouting that the Republic of the South, referring to Paul Biya's South region, was off limits to Bamilekis, and also that they should go home. If regime apologists are saying Ambazonians want to start a war with Francophones if they are driven out, what explanation do they have to give the fact that the Bamilekis have not staged a revenge against Betis who live and work in Bamileke land. What are they saying? Why is Kamto, and I mean here, the political leader of CROM, why is he focusing but on Ambazonia and not on his people who are receiving the brunt of the Betty retribution for Kamto's political adventurism? Why? Why is he so focused only on Ambazonia and his people are chased out of Yaoundé, Bamayo and the rest? Number 3, the Bassas have laid low and done most of their damage through the involvement of their sons and daughters, ladies and gentlemen, who grew up and schooled in Ambazonia and have joined terrorist La République du Cameroon army and are participating in carrying out genocide and barbarism, even in their childhood communities in our territory. On the contrary, the Bamilekis have been tantalizing and very provocative ever since this struggle escalated in 2016. They have cooperated with the sadistic regime in Yaoundé, making enormous sums of donations to it, which is why it is time for them to go. But I have more examples for you today. When French Cameroon Senate dictator Paul Biya formally declared war on us on November 30, 2017, the calculation was that in a few weeks, the carnage and barbarism inflicted on our people will be so devastating and demoralizing that Ambazonians would give up. That was the calculation. And by giving up, the misguided regime will not need extra funding for the war. That did not happen. It didn't work. Instead, Ambazonians became resilient. About 3 months into the war, the French Cameroon regime started feeling the financial crunch of it. Cash strapped. Soldiers sent to battlefields in remote areas of Ambazonia started making online videos in which they complained bitterly about non-payment of their stipends, and of course starvation had also stepped in. Terrorist La République du Cameroon soldiers who were deployed in strategic localities in the northern zone of Ambazonia got temporal help from colonial governor Lele Lafrique, who organized a secret fundraiser for their benefit, while the regime begged the international community. They begged France, they begged the IMF, China, and the United Nations for money. Lele Lafrique summoned Bamileke business magnates in Bamenda and told them to contribute towards funding the war in the northern zone. Lele Lafrique warned that if Ambazonians were to succeed, that their lucrative investment, Bamileke's lucrative investments, would be in jeopardy. Prominent among those in attendance and co-chair of the fundraiser was Mr. Amu Mezam. So we allowed Francophones to come and live comfortably in our communities, make money, and then use the money to pay for the killing of our sons and daughters, our parents, our mothers, and our fathers, and cause massive destruction of our communities, right? It is important to note that the fundraiser led by Lele Lafrique took place long before the regime in Yaoundé came up with a scam to collect money in the name of humanitarian relief. Do you remember that scam called humanitarian relief, where they raised billions of CFA francs? It is also important to note that Amu Mezam has on several occasions allowed his transit buses to be used by the La République du Cameroon regime to transport soldiers and brasserie products from Bafoussam and Douala into Bamenda and Boya to fake massive to also transport people to fake massive participation during banned activities in Ambazonia organized by French Cameroon. For example, 11th of February, the so-called Youth Day, and the 20th May, the so-called National Day. Amour Mesam buses have been used to ferry La République du Cameroon citizens from nearby towns into Ambazonia. Also, Bamilekis are using Amour Mesam buses to smuggle brasseries drinks into Ambazonia. They keep on doing so, they continue doing so up to today. Some ignoramuses and regime apologists have argued that Ambazonians will be the ones to suffer if the Bamilekis go away with their businesses. That is a very very naive argument, because it is not the lack of business know-how and or capital that has prevented Ambazonians from running big businesses in their own land. It is not. It is rather the level of obstruction that the regime in Yaoundé places on Ambazonians. Whereas it is relatively easy for La République du Cameroon citizens, Francophones, to secure bank loans even without collateral security, it is near impossible for Ambazonians to secure a bank loan to start up a business due to crushing bureaucratic bottlenecks and sheer marginalization and a blatant intent to relegate and keep Ambazonians in a state of severe immiserization and subjugation. That is what is going on. Even when Ambazonians have the capital, have the money to start up a small business from which they can grow, La République du Cameroon citizens who run the offices where business licenses are issued make sure they absorb part of the capital in bribe taking in the processing of paperwork. A vexing situation happened at upstation Bamenda, where an Ambazonian was trying to get a land title for their family land so that a house could be built and put up for rent. This Ambazonian spent over 4 million francs CFA, 4 million francs CFA, over 3 years, and still could not get the land title. Determined as he was to build that house, he cut part of the land and sold it to a Francophone man. And guess what? Within 8 months, the Bamileki man had all his paperwork done, and his building was already going up. The building was completed, and since La République du Cameroon soldiers are now limited to where they can stay, the building is now occupied by a very high-ranking Betty army officer, and the rent is astronomical. For those of you from Bamenda, familiar with the lands and survey office upstation, it is dominated by La République du Cameroon citizens. It is through that office that the Francophones have acquired almost 65% of upstation Bamenda. It is through that office, the land and survey, that Francophones easily acquire land titles for lucrative land around Inquen, around Bambui, and around Bambeli, and building mini-cities after the University of Bamenda was established. On Saturday, July 13, 2019, bikers in Kumba took to the street to condemn the killing of one of theirs, who was reportedly shot and killed on the night of Friday, July 12, 2019. The death of the young biker provoked indignation within his peers, who went out on Saturday in protest against the killing of yet another innocent young Ambazonian, another innocent young man. Following the protest march on Saturday, July 13, 2019, staged by the bikers, a 10-day ghost town order was placed on bikers by Ambazonia restoration fighters. The 10-day ghost town restricting bikers from circulating in the town of Kumba was meant to penalize them for trying to rise up against the restoration forces and for conniving with the government of French Cameroon and the military. According to news reports, even though the number of riders drastically reduced during the early days of the ban, some connive yet with the French Cameroon military and continued to operate. The divisional officer for Kumba 3, Vaclin Epolewane, took advantage and tried to lure the angry young men to denounce ghost towns, promising them government financial assistance. On Sunday, July the 14th, 2019, Colonial SDO for Kumba, Chamberlain Intu, a Francophone, issued a communique promising a reward of 5 liters of petrol plus an additional 3,000 CFA francs to each biker who would defy Ghost Town Monday and go to work. Whereas bikers who were indigenous Ambazonians refused the offer. A handful of their peers who were Francophones showed up for the bribe and made the mistake of posting a photo up with a colonial officer. The pictures were then circulated online, and within a day, some of the traitors were tracked down and arrested by Ambazonian restoration forces in collaboration with indigenous bikers. The traitors were Francophone boys, residents of Chankwota in Kumba. After those who were arrested were dealt with accordingly and then released, they and their other comrades who posed with a colonial officer but eluded arrest left Kumba. They ran out for good. That is one of the reasons, ladies and gentlemen, the Francophones, they must go. Now is the time for French Cameroon citizens to go. The Francophones in Kumba have made it a duty to always collude with the sadistic regime in Yaoundé. 20th May reminds us of our annexation. When we say no more 20th May celebrations, they show up defiantly. They have refused to celebrate their own Independence Day, but have chosen to remind us every year of the day that Ambazonia was annexed and then colonized. But please, listen to this one too. French Cameroon does not have enough military camps that can absorb the thousands of soldiers deployed in Ambazonia. And since it is now very, very risky for them to roam our streets, as was the case just over 5 years ago, some of them now use their relatives to blend into our communities. Some of the thousands of terrorists, La République du Cameroon soldiers, who are grandsons and daughters of the first wave of refugees who settled in Ambazonia, who arrived in the late 50s and 60s, are actually have their siblings still living, they have their siblings still living in their childhood neighborhoods, using those neighborhoods as hideouts to kill our people. They live there and collect intelligence on the movements of Ambazonia Restoration Forces. When you hear that our boys and girls are ambushed and slaughtered, it is because terrorist La République du Cameroon soldiers go back in disguise and live with their relatives and get the type of information they want. The Bassas in Fako are very, very good at this. According to our sources, every morning, these regime soldiers living with their relatives, dressed as civilians, get transported to the brigade or commissariat, where they change into military uniforms. Then they get transported to localities in Moyoka, where they kill and burn, and then get transported back to the brigade or commissariat, where they again change into civilian attire before getting back or getting transported back into their communities. They are operating like a secret police. They live among you, you do not know. You will never know they are soldiers. The soldiers who wreak havoc in Ikata, in Moyenge, and Bafia in Moyoka local government areas are mostly natives of Bassa who live as civilians in their childhood neighborhoods in Tigo, in Mutengene, in Victoria. Another example, ladies and gentlemen, is a police inspector in Northeast who died in late 2018 during a shootout with restoration forces as he was leaving Balenyonga after an operation in which 4 innocent civilians, Ambazonians, were killed and several homes burned. It was only after a worker at the mortuary at the Bamenda General Hospital identified his corpse brought in that she realized this man was actually a police officer. His neighbors in Ntamolung only knew him as a La République du Cameroon citizen. They had no idea he was a police officer and that he was a government worker. They knew he was a government worker, but not a military, a police officer, a military person. They had no idea, but he had lived among them for years. In Greater Fiango, Kumba, the Bamilekis who own big cocoa and coffee farms, ladies and gentlemen, know all the back roads used by our boys and girls. They leak the information to terrorist La République du Cameroon soldiers who conduct ambushes and slaughter our boys and girls. The back roads from behind Kosala quarters to behind St. Francis High School to Mambanda are now dead traps, as Bamilekis in those areas provided intelligence to soldiers. In one particular incident, several restoration forces were ambushed and killed in Kosala quarters, Bamilekis Emeta quarters in Bamenda, a neighborhood where Lele Lafrique lived for a long time and still has a home there, a house there, ladies and gentlemen. They work with terrorist soldiers to disclose the homes of young boys they perceive to be members of Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Some of the boys were arrested and have never been seen again. Colonel Chinda Mbuziko Henry, he commands all of the killer squads in the so-called Southwest region, and he's stationed in Boya. He oversees the mass killings and mass burials in Boya. Soldiers under his command were responsible for the massive killings inside the Boya Central Prison. He personally supervised the torture chamber behind that prison. Recently, soldiers under his command arrested several boys within and around Boya. Those who could not pay 500,000 francs CFA to gain or regain their freedom were taken away and have not been heard or seen again. In one incident, soldiers under his command charged a pharmacy owner in Boya for selling abortion pills and ordered her to pay a fine of 1 million francs CFA or risk being transported to Condenghe, the dreaded Condenghe. Many of the killer colonels, commanders, and subordinates are La République du Cameroon natives living with their families or siblings within the Tiko Mutengene Victoria Boya axis. I can go on and on and on and on, making the case for Francophones to leave Ambazonia. But time, ladies and gentlemen, would not allow me to continue. Let me conclude this by once more reasserting to us all that it is within our right to decide who should live in our communities, in our country. Francophones in our territory are aiding in abetting genocide and other acts of barbarism. They are our enemies. As such, must leave. They must leave or face the consequences. The Bamilikis were told to leave the south, but they refused and were brutally flushed out. We do not want to go down that route, however. That is provided our patience and kindness is not tested. It is quite unfortunate that this is happening, but we have to do this because if they were brothers, if they were our brothers, they would have taken to the street challenging their government to withdraw their troops and stop the carnage, the genocide on our people. They would have demanded an immediate withdrawal of French Cameroon troops from our land. They have not. And so our patience is out. Ambazonia Restoration Forces, we enforce the order, and there will be no mercy. Thanks for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the message. I hope it made a lot of sense to you. Again, the order has been out long ago. This time, it is not just a statement. This one is an action. We are appealing to all Francophones, please, we do not want you to be victims. We are not barbarians of the French Cameroon government and its army. We want you and your family to move out in peace and not in pieces. That is the message that this interim government is sounding out to every one of you. And yes, we have Ambazonians on the other side of the Mongo. And many of you are asking, what should they do? What if they are attacked? Fellow Ambazonians, at this time, they should not be there in the first place. And many of us are guilty of this. But the fact is that our people should not be over there. I've heard some people asking, what about the IDPs? What should the IDPs do, which are over there and in the bushes? Yes, there can be no safer place than home. There can be no safer place than home. We are at this moment appealing to every Ambazonian in the West region, in the Littoral region, in the center and south, everywhere in the East Cameroon. Please begin to consider right now returning home, returning to the southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. Do not say you were surprised or taken by surprise. We are giving you this warning because we see exactly what lies ahead. And we are passing the warning to you also. Please listen to me. Listen to the sound of my voice very, very carefully and take the decisions you have to take right now before it is late. Before it is late. I can't say it any more than this. Again, that is the message. I will now open the phone lines to take a few calls. I'd like to hear from you, especially if you are on ground zero. Please go ahead, make the phone call. Let me hear what you think of this special presentation. All right, the phone lines are open, and I guess many of you have the phone line out there. If not, you have the line right there on your screen. All right, again, the phone lines are open, and you can go ahead. You can go ahead to make your phone call. You can go ahead to make your phone call. The phone lines are open. The phone lines are open. And the number is there on your screen. And while I am waiting, make your calls, I would like to take this call from our correspondent on ground zero, who has some important information about the killings. About the abduction of Malam Danjuma Malam. Hello, sir.
Hello, this is Vivian speaking.
I'm sorry, what's the name again?
Vivian.
Vivian, thanks for the call, ma'am. And where are you calling from again?
No, I'm calling from North Carolina.
Thanks for the call. What is your comment or question or contribution?
Yes, I just wanted the deadline. Do they have a deadline when the Francophones have to leave? Because the killing is not easy. It's a lot of our people are dying in their thousands. So do we have a deadline for the Francophones to leave Ambazonia? Because they have to leave.
We are giving them a little line to draw. We are then going to monitor what happens, because we want them to leave voluntarily. But what will happen is, if they are not leaving voluntarily, we then set up a deadline. That is the plan. Does that make sense?
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the call. All right. Let me get this other caller. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, Secretary Chris.
Good afternoon. Is this the one and only UN himself?
Yes, this is UN speaking.
Thank you for the call, sir. What is your contribution?
I want to thank you for the great job that you are doing. I just have one advice to the restoration forces back home. When they ask Francophones to leave, you don't have any obligation to go and take them and begin to interview them, because last week I saw a video in which restoration forces were asking Francophones, is what La Republic is doing is bad. When La Republic, they come for you, they don't ask you any questions. So we have asked La Republic people to leave. If possible, federally should follow them along. We don't have anything to discuss with them. We don't have no excuse, because you might sympathize with them, and do not take any money from any Francophone. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. That is very, very critical. Ambazonian restoration forces have not, again, they have not been instructed to collect a dime from anybody. Not just Francophones, not even Ambazonians. Ambazonians restoration forces are not authorized to collect a dime from anybody or take anything from anybody. They have not been authorized to tax any community, And so, when Francophones are leaving, they have the right to leave with anything they want to leave with. If they want to leave it behind, that should be their discretion, not anybody's else. All right, let me get the calls. Hello, sir.
Yeah. This is Major Eric calling from from the Netherlands.
Thanks for the call, sir. And what is the contribution?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Secretary Chris.
Can you tune down the volume of your set and focus on your phone, please? Mute the volume of your set, focus on the phone.
Yeah, okay. Now I've turned it down.
That's better.
My comment, or contribution, I just want to say, now, from my opinion I also have another opinion on this issue of Francophones leaving, is that some of them, I think they are actually spies, because they have been sent by the Republic just to spy. Like the other time I saw a video of somebody selling bread and things like that. I don't understand how someone can come and be selling bread in a zone where there's war going on and things like that and be comfortable. Those are very suspicious kind of people, So I
think you are very, very correct, because I saw that particular incident in that particular guy. I think he was caught about 3 times. In spite of all the warnings.
It doesn't make any sense.
In spite of all the warnings. In fact, I think the people who were intercepting him, they were not Ambazonian Restoration Forces.
Not at all.
They were not Ambazonian Restoration Forces. They were they were Francophone military who were intercepting him and trying to send out the message that Ambazonian forces are trying to get Francophones out. That guy, it was a setup. It was a setup. It was a stage interception.
And that is what they do. They send them to schools. They sit there. Nobody knows where they come from. How is it possible these people can be going to school comfortably, going around where there's war? It is very suspicious.
Right.
And they sit there, they send messages, they use their phones and they act like spies, send messages to La Republique, and they come in the night and kill our people. So that was my comment, Secretary Clayson.
Thank you.
Thank you also for the good job you are doing. Thank you. That's my contribution.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. I am looking for your calls, ladies and gentlemen. Looking for your calls. I wish to hear from Ground Zero. Okay, this is the first caller I can get from Ground Zero. Hello, sir.
Yes, 60 degrees. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know what part of Ground Zero you are calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Meme County.
Okay, and what is the contribution, sir? I understand you have a lot of Francophones in Cuba in particular. I'm sure you listened to the presentation, and what can you tell me about that? Can you correlate what I said, what I put out there about Cuba?
Yes, the phone is, there are so many of them. And the information, hello?
Yes, I can hear you, go on.
Yes, the information I just want to pass is that now there are no lights in the southern zones.
Okay.
So I'm just watching from my generator.
Okay. Well, you don't have to worry.
Yeah, so
they cannot outsmart. Yes. They cannot outsmart us. We will have to rebroadcast this. Check out. We'll have to rebroadcast this early in the morning and through the day on Ground Zero. So you guys don't worry about it. You will watch it on TV there. They cannot keep the lights shut down forever.
Yes, because on Monday they did it when you had the show, and today they've done it again.
Okay.
But I just want to say I really appreciate the effort people are doing, and that they should leave really, because they are really spies.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
I think that's the right decision to take. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I will get to the next caller. I need to hear more from Ground Zero. I guess this is from Asia. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. May I know what part of Asia you're calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from the UAE.
UAE. Good to hear your voice, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling from Dubai.
Okay, and what is your contribution? There's a lot of noise in your background. A lot of noise in your background. Can you move to a quiet place, please?
Is it better now?
It's a little better now.
Okay, sir. I want to start by thanking you for the excellent presentation. It was a very touching presentation, and one thing caught my mind in that presentation about the obtaining of land title. It is so bad in Bamenda that we used to pass through the Bamili case because they had the connections. We used to pass through the Bamili case to have land titles.
In your own land, in your own land, in your own town, in your own city. Hold on. In your own land, in your own city, in your own town, you have to pass through immigrants to get land titles.
That is how bad it is, and I am telling you before God and man, they had all the connections, and if you wanted it to be fast, you have to see the Bambili case because they have all the connections. If it is in Bambili, if it is in even central town, Bamenda, they have all the connections. That is why they acquire land anywhere they want, and it is very fast. They do it like magic. It's magical when it comes to them, but when it comes to us, you have to wait delays. So they have the straight connection. They call it connection. If you want connection, you have to pass through them. So that is how bad it was. And away from that, I want to talk about about them moving out. They have to go. It is too much. They have to go. They have beaten the fingers that fed them. They never stood by us. They stood against those who were hurting us, and they keep on insulting us no matter the fact that we are dying.
Yeah, I see. I read all their Twitter pages, their Facebook comments, and they are just horrible. They give us all sort of labels that you can imagine.
I am so touched by your presentation today because they say they have the businesses, they are hardworking and stuff like that. They don't know that.
No, they are not. They are not hardworking. They are privileged.
They limit us. They make sure they push us to the background. They make sure they keep us low. We are like doormats that they stand on. They make sure we don't progress. And when they progress, they say it is because they are hardworking. They are not. They make the conditions favorable for them, and they limit us, the people who own the land. I want to tell you this: they have to leave.
All right.
Because enough is enough. Enough is enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the call.
We should set a deadline.
The moment we come for the deadline, we want them to move out on their own, because we know it is not easy to move a family and move property. So we want them to do it by themselves for now without being pushed by anyone. We hope that they will not test our resolve or test our patience. Okay, thank you for that call. Let me get to ground zero. Oh, I think there may be a network issue here. All right. Let me see, who else? All right, let me get to Germany. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening from this end.
Good evening, sir. You are calling from Germany, am I correct?
Perfect, Chris.
Okay.
Actually, I called you the other day to talk about this issue about Francophones living. Please, I'm so happy today because you said clearly that they must leave, and they must leave. One very solid reason why they must leave is because if they continue to live in our midst, they are going to infest Southern Cameroons. And in years to come, you will be realized that the whole of Southern Cameroons will be Francophones, and we will not have anything again.
Well, I have actually stated that again and again and again and again, that there is a danger. There is a danger if we do not get them to leave in the next 10, 20 years. The overwhelming majority in Ambazonia or Southern Cameroons will be Francophones.
will be Francophones.
They have
and
bought.
from there, we
They
will
have
not
bought
have
all the
anything
land.
again to see.
Listen to me. They have bought all the lands along Tico Douala
In
Road.
Limbe, the whole Limbe is owned by Francophones.
Correct.
That's the truth.
And all of Kumba Mamfe axis is owned by Francophones.
And very important.
So,
for our brothers who are in the Francophone, one very important reason why they must come back is because they must know that home is the best place to be.
correct.
So if they remain in La République du Cameroon, they are going to be like the same, they are going to be like the Francophones who are now with us in Amazonia, who are more like Amazonians now. And in years to come, what will we say? They become Francophones. And then they come back to us and they look at us the same as Francophones have invested our towns and they don't even feel like going back. From there, it's a very big problem.
Right.
And I have one recommendation to give. If they are leaving, I think we should really implement this in one way, in another way. All cars that have Francophone number plates, like Littoral, Central, East, these cars should equally leave, because this is an example to show that Francophones too have left. If we still have these cars flooding our cities, Central region, Littoral region, then automatically we declare that Francophones are still with us. So we need to have cars flying our streets, which are Northwest region, Southwest. These are the number plates we expect to live to have in our cities. And these are some of the reasons why they should leave. And for our schools,
Well,
we should start thinking about our schools in a sense that if we want our brothers and sisters from Francophones to come back to Amazonia, then we need to start looking at our educational system now that we are about going for holidays. What are we going to do to let them be within our cities? Then we need to look at it like, okay, let private schools in our land be operational and we shut down all government schools. And then from our local government areas and from our counties, we can now start to look at ways to subsidize some of these schools to let our children go to school. And then we make sure that Francophones are not in our schools, since they must have left. And we must put this into practice.
All right.
Much, Chris.
All right. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Let me get some other callers in. Okay, this is from the great state of Maryland. Hello, sir.
Hey, Secretary Chris, how you doing?
I am doing excellent, sir.
Yeah, I'm Charles calling from Maryland.
All right, thanks for the call. What is your opinion here?
Yeah, you're talking about all this Francophone should leave. Is that a way forward, or is that like another way forward, or what's going on? Like,
can you?
The Francophone should leave for everybody. Like, I know that in every case there's a victim, obviously, but is that a way forward? Like, is it going to help the struggle? What is the way forward now?
Do you think this is not this is not a way forward?
I'm just asking because the way this thing is going, because they have some kids that are Francophone kids that were born in Southwest and Northwest. How do you call them kids when their parents are Francophone? How do you call those kind of kids now?
Did you?
Their birth certificates that they are from Northwest, but their parents are from, let's say, Bamleke.
Did you listen? Hold on, I'm not going to cut you off. Did you listen to my presentation in its entirety?
Well, I'm just listening to you right now, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then you missed the whole. I will ask that. Please go back, listen to it.
So
you have my number.
What is the way forward? Our main goal is we're trying to focus the way forward. Is this a way forward? I don't know.
The way forward is driving French Cameroon out of Amazonia in whatever we see feasible that would contribute to sending them out. We will engage in it. I will ask that please go back and listen to my presentation, and I think after you listen to it, you will not have to ask this question. If I may ask you, if you think this is not a good way forward, and remember, this is not the only factor we are depending on to get back our territory, but if you feel that it is not a good thing, what is your suggestion?
I mean, it's not about, it's not what you're saying, it's not like you're wrong, Secretary Chris, but there's a way to put it. In any society, they have a bad apple, obviously. In any society, they have a bad apple. It's just like the white people say all the foreigners should leave America. It's like I know it's not easy for you guys, but
no, the white people do not say all the foreigners should leave America. I think they are saying illegal immigrants should leave America. I think that's the message I hear, and there's nothing wrong with it.
But they were born in Westland, so they are illegal when they are born in Westland.
Well, they will have to determine where to live. It is not you and me to determine that, and that is why we are not forcing anyone out. We want them to live on their own. We are not going to be we're not going to be as brutal as their forces have been upon us. We are giving them the discretion to decide when and how to live. Well, thank you for the call. Let me get some other calls, but please go back, listen to the message, and you can call me back. All right, let me get a caller from Ground Zero. Hello. Hello, can you turn down the volume of your set, please? Turn down the volume of your set, or you walk away from it and focus on your phone. Hello? All right. I cannot accept your call if you are having your television on. Good evening, sir. May I know where you're calling in from, please?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Where on Ground Zero?
Yeah.
Where on Ground Zero? What zone?
I'm calling from the southern zone.
Okay, thanks for the call. And what is your contribution, please?
My contribution is that there is no light. I'm using generator to watch.
Okay.
I just the presentation, what you said concerning the land issue, that is really practical true.
Okay.
Because if you are an Ambazonian, to get the land title, you might not even get it. And then what we also discovered recently are seizing land from what they call Anglophones and handing them to their so-called Francophone brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And if they discover you are really an Ambazonian, as they say, you never get that land. That's what they're trying to do.
Right.
So I think they should really leave. There's a lot of
it's a big tactic. It's a big tactic, a big ploy that most Ambazonians are yet to discover. That what is happening is they deny them land certificates for this land, and then from those same offices, they know where the piece of land is. They now send their brothers Francophones to go buy those piece of lands, come back and get the land titles.
That is what is happening, exactly. That is what is happening.
And that's why we are warning. That's why we are warning Ambazonians, if we are not careful, in the next 10 to 20 years, most of the land, the real estate in Ambazonia will be Francophone, and their population would have doubled, if not become majority in the territory.
Secretary Chris.
Yes, sir.
I think our lawyers know that, and they're hiding it.
Our lawyers, yes, because our lawyers know it. They're hiding it because they make those documents for them.
Yes, some of them are really benefiting from the thing. That's why they're hiding the whole thing. And I think we should, if we are not careful, we'll lose most of our land to them.
Well, thank you for the call, sir. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
All right, let me get one more caller from Ground Zero. Hello.
Greetings, Secretary.
Greetings, sir. May I know precisely what zone or town you are calling from on Ground Zero, please?
It's Donga Mantung.
Donga Mantung. Okay. All right. What is your contribution today?
I just want to add to the person who just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
We still have some people among us who are Ambazonian and they are behaving as Francophone, we have to take them also out of this land because they are behaving exactly like phones.
Okay, I hear you.
So we have to take them. Yeah, we have to take them. We have to take those who are behaving like Francophone out of this land also because they are spies among us, pretend as if they are Amazonians.
And Donga Mantung has a lot of them, right? In Kambe.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks.
And this time around, we don't have light.
Oh, there is no light in Donga Mantung too, like in the southern zone?
Absolutely, absolutely, Chris.
Yeah, in fact, I have not received a call from Bamenda of all places. I guess they too, they don't have light. Well, thank you for the call. What we are going to do is we will rebroadcast this presentation again and again and again and again and again until all of Ground Zero gets it. And I will also make sure there is an audio version of it that comes out tonight. God bless you. Thanks for the call. Okay, who is this? Hello? Hello? Good evening, sir. May I know where you're calling from, please?
Yeah, this is Mr. Jude calling from Finland.
All right. What is your contribution?
Yeah, Secretary, please. I think we are at war. Issue like this, when it comes to Francophone living or not, we shouldn't be debating it. There are spies in our country. They are leading the military, the La Republic military, to kill our people. There's no matter of debate. When I hear people coming and they are talking, dragging things over and over, we should stop that rubbish. They should leave. And it's not like we are begging them to leave. If we ask them to leave, they don't leave, we force them out.
Well, that is our position. That is our position. However, we are giving them the grace to live on their own. When they do not leave, as somebody asked, a deadline will come up, and it's going to be soon.
Imagine what happened the other day in Bali when the military is using some of their vehicles and their dresses and kill people, and we are still babbling them. No, then we are not serious. We are not serious. We need to take this issue very, very serious. That's my humble plea. We shouldn't pamper them. We should take them to leave that land for
All right.
security.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 minutes to go. This is Prince J. Carr. Hello, Prince.
Hello, Secretary. It has not been easy getting you, but I really had to call to insist this.
Yeah, by the time I am done, I would have had about 700 to 1,000 calls, which of course I cannot take all. So people should understand when they call, they cannot get through. Let them know what is going on. Yes, Comrade Carr, what is your contribution, sir?
Well, I want to say you have done a very good education to our people, and I want to add this, let them get this. They should know very well that what La Republic is doing with the Bamile case and the Bulu is another economical slavery ideology. Maybe they don't know that. Some Anglophones are very ignorant about maybe what you have said, like the caller I heard. What they are doing is the Bamile case and the Francophone Francophone, they occupy the custom duties and the custom directors'
Correct.
positions.
Correct.
They give their brothers the loan, as you say it. Their brothers who are in the diaspora, they don't feel the pain because when they come in with their goods, they get low custom duty discounts to take out their goods. They give them free loans. They come into southern zones and the northern zones as also as custom officers, as SDOs. When an SDO gets into the northern zone, what he does is he looks for somebody which is frustrated and then take you to Yaoundé and make you a chief. They give you a new layout, and that new layout, the chief will have about 2 hectares of the land.
Can you hold on, Prince? Can anybody just imagine for a moment, that the new mayor of Moyoka is a Francophone?
That's what I'm telling them. They don't know.
Think about that. The new mayor in their so-called election for Moyoka is a Francophone.
Especially Victoria, we will chase them out. We will chase them out to the gates of hell. So most of them, most of Southern Cameroonians, they are very, very naive. They should see what they did to Njiefobi in Douala. Njiefobi brought diamond in one night. The next day, they arranged for youths in Douala to burn off Njiefobi's nightclub. Cannot do that in Douala. You cannot. How many Southern Cameroonians have they seen succeeding in Francophones? How many? How many Southern Cameroonians have plots, building houses, owning business in Francophones? I don't know when our brothers of Southern Cameroon, their ideology and their brains will grow up. I don't know. They will not even do comparison. How many of us own plots and businesses? Go to Victoria Palace nightclub, Bamileke, Sea Palace, Bamileke, Seme Beach, Bamileke, Fini Hotel, Ndima, Basa. How many of their brothers own businesses? They will go out by fire, by thunder. If they don't, we'll deal with them squarely.
All right.
Squarely.
All right.
I want to say it.
All right,
so
Prince.
I just want to say this. Let them know that.
Prince, thanks for the call. My time is up, and I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Unfortunately, I can't take any more calls. My time is up, but fellow Ambazonians, I will make sure that this broadcast is put into a documentary, just that segment of the presentation. I will make sure it is put into a documentary and rebroadcast again and again and again and again. And if you are on ground zero, you can trust that we will rebroadcast it again and again and again and again. I believe they are not going to shut off the lights for the next 24 hours, or even if it is 48 hours. But even if it is so, I promise you, we will bring this piece of information to you by way of satellite ABC on ground zero. So you don't have to be worried. Before I go, I just want to remind those of you in London, March the 9th is the rendezvous at the Commonwealth Secretariat for the rally. This weekend, this Friday, is our National Day of Mourning. Our National Day of Mourning. We are setting aside this day, the 28th, to remember, or in remembrance of our brothers, our sisters, our parents who were slaughtered, massacred in Ngariba and in Tumbo, in Donga and Mantum. So let's remember that. Then on the 13th and the 12th and the 13th, the National Press Club press conference in Washington, D.C. is coming up Thursday, the 12th of March. And the 13th of March, being a Friday, we are having this massive rally coming up everywhere, all over the globe, in Europe, in America, in Latin America, wherever you Ambazonians find yourselves. We have to do so. And one more thing before I go. Please, we cannot give up just yet calling Mr. Jude Devermont. You have the phone numbers, you have the Twitter handle, and the email address and the Facebook address on your screen. We cannot give up calling this gentleman, calling him and letting him know We are aware, Ambazonians are aware of what he is putting in place to see that Ambazonia remain with French Cameroon. Let's call him, let him know we are aware he is a lobbyist. He is working for French Cameroon over dead bodies, over the blood of human beings. If you succeed to get him, ask him the question, what if his son, what if his daughter, what if it was his wife who is killed in a barbaric way, and somebody like him is rushing in defense, rushing to the defense of the barbaric French Cameroon regime? Let's put common sense in his head. Again, that's the phone number on the screen, and the email address, the Twitter, and the Facebook address. Please call him, write to him. Let's get the message across. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, it was a privilege to come to you again today. I wish you the best of night. Good night.
Are you tired of going from dealership to dealership looking for that used car that perfectly fits both your lifestyle and your budget? Are you bored with the same old tactics, the same old styles, and the same old disappointments when you don't find exactly what you want? Are you frustrated because of bad credit or tired of being rejected of in-house financing? Are you tired of going from garage to garage for a car? How about that filthy old car that you used to drive? Are you done? Welcome to the new experience. Barrico Auto Sales has sold and financed cars to over 50,000 people across the country. Our exclusive in-house financing model allows us to provide flexible options for all. Enjoy low rates, free pickup, and award-winning customer service. Reserve today. Barrico Auto helps make car renting easy and seamless for all of our customers. Our financing options allow you to shop our vehicle inventory for the exact used car, truck, or van that best fits your needs. Car selection and customer satisfaction are of great importance to us. We provide the best mechanical repairs, and our services take just minutes. Detail your car with us and get out of that filthy old smell and into something sweet. We will even do your oil change at the lowest rate. And please do not forget that with Barrico Auto Sale, you own and drive your car before you even have to pay us. So come on down and visit us and drive away with your new car.
Barrico Autos. Own and drive before you pay. 240-486-4664. www.barricoauto.com.
Start a new career as a Linux system administrator with an average salary of $80,000 to $120,000 a year. Dynamic Tech Academy has transformed many lives for the better through our 6-month Linux program. We are so excited to announce that we are adding DevOps course and Red Hat certification at no charge, which will make students more competitive. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet vast majority of alumni land jobs in 3 to 6 months after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student employment, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will provide resume building, interview preparation, and job placement assistance. With the Linux course, you get more than 300 hours of in-depth training, and you get to learn from experienced instructors. By the end of the program, our students can be Red Hat certified if they choose. Our alumni work in companies, both government and private companies in the USA, Canada, and even Europe. Want to learn more about the program? You can contact us at info@dynamicdmv.com Or you can call us at 240-604-9505. Or you can call us at 240-423-7865. And you can also visit us at www.dynamictechdmv.com. If you are interested in online classes, please register on our website. That's once again
England is governed by Englishmen. America is governed by Americans. So, Africa must be ruled by Africans. I wanna know the land. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. We must rule our purpose land. I say, we wanna know the land. Angola want to know the land. Mozambique want to know the land. Namibia want to know the land. I say, Soweto want to know the land. Zimbabwe want to know the land. African freedom fighters want to know the land. Purpose land. Now listen to the history. We've been here since creation. We've been here since creation. What else want to know? Since the time of sun and sand. Since the time of moon and stars. Since the time of air and sea. Since the time of men and things. We must run from Cape to Cairo. And then must move our purpose land. Purpose land. Oh! Okay now. Now I want to talk to my now we are the crossroads. On the Femo, Dambela. On the Femo, Dambela. Opalimu Megagera Baba. Opalimu Jasu Yaraka. Opalimu Zizanya Vetonye. So